Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Right or Die Show. I am your host, Randi-lee. Today, we have an awesome guest who we both actually had some technical difficulties at the beginning. We worked about. So, welcome, Adrienne. How are you?
I'm great. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me as a guest on your podcast show. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for coming on and bearing with me through the why isn't my camera working little bit there. But we got it. We are
Yeah, we
here.
did.
And I just realized my hair looks awful, but that's okay. I was out working in the garden all day, so we got what we got.
Yeah, exactly. I love your attitude.
So tell us a little bit about who Adrienne is.
Oh my goodness. Wow. I love this question. Adrienne is a little of this and little of that. But currently, the current Adrienne is all about advocating and championing and motivating and inspiring those who want to live the life that they have left with just a little bit more vitality, whether a little bit, medium, large, or you want to show up fully blown out with vitality. I'm all about supporting living your life to the max. That's what Adrienne is all about. I've been on this journey for a while now, and I find that the older I get, the demographics that I'm really kind of rallying for and really kind of wanting to step into that world is individuals as they cross over that 50-year line, because
Mm.
that's when I went through a huge transformation when I stepped over, and I can really relate to how that feels. So that's who I'm standing behind, those of us who have kind of crossed over 50 into that. I like to call it that third phase of life. You know what? You can live it with as much vitality as you would like. Do not feel that it's all lost because you're no longer in your 20s and your 30s and your 40s, and energy is just kind of your best friend. Energy can be your best friend at any stage in life, and that's what I'm all about. That's who Adrienne is.
I love it. And you have awesome glasses. I love those. I I find the ones that I got here last year. So they're the ones that you can clip different frames to. So I love them because I have oodles and oodles of frames.
Got it.
I don't like them because they're just not as big as the I used to have. And I love yours
Okay.
because they're just so big and fun.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's talk mental health.
Mhm.
You start wherever makes sense for you.
What makes sense to me is to remind, introduce, talk about the core of who we are as human beings. And for me, it starts from the inside out. So we're used to hearing body, mind, and soul. So that is from the outside in. I believe that any change that we need to happen in our lives starts from the inside and transfers out to the outside, to the three-dimensional world. So you will hear me refer it as soul, mind, and body. It starts from within our souls, how we're feeling. Where does our why come from? We translate it into our minds. Our minds have to make sense of it. And once our minds make sense of it, it's now manifested into the physical realm. So for me, when I talk about living our lives with vitality, we have to understand from inside, why do I want to live my life with vitality? Some people I've come to realize, you know what? I'm fine the way I am. I'm just fine the way I am, just kind of moving on default. I get up, I go to work, I come home, I make dinner, family has dinner, watch a little TV, we kind of go for bed, go for vacation 2 times a year, go for family dinners, maybe go to a birthday. You know what? And that is fine. But there are so many of us that know that, you know what? No, I got a whole lot more that I want to do with my life. I know that I have a gift, and I want to my life will not be fulfilled until I allow my gift to be given to the world. I know that there's a sparkle inside of me. I like to call it like a candlelight or a campfire. And if it's not fed with the right fuel, just slowly but surely, it gets a little bit dimmer. There are a whole lot of us that know, you know what? I'm not ready for my flame to be exhausted as yet. I still need to show up in this world. So for those individuals, mentally, we need to kind of understand, okay, why do I want to show up?
Mhm.
How do I want to show up?
So here's a question for you. When did you decide that that was something that you want? Like, why did you decide that this was your why of helping other people?
Yeah, wow. Wow. I mentioned earlier about crossing over that 50-year line. I don't know what it is about 50. I don't know who kind of use 50 as a mark, but for so many of us, it's like, oh God, I'm getting close to 50. I'm
Because
getting
it's
close to
half a
50. Just kind of,
century.
you know what? So yeah, but why 50? Like, why not 60? But for some reason, it's 50, maybe because they figured, you know what, we'll live till 100. So for
Exactly,
me,
half a century. It's crazy.
well, you know what? That's amazing if more of us could get to live to 100, like the
Mm.
centurions we hear about in the Blue Mountain, but that's a story for another day. The Blue Zones, I'm sorry, in the Blue Zones. So for me, I had an abundance of energy, 20s, 30s, and 40s, even my late 40s. I was just bouncing around everywhere, did what I want, when I wanted, with who I wanted. I drank, I ate, I stayed up all night. Nothing could stop me. I felt like I was superwoman. And they used to call me jokingly the Energizer Bunny. You remember that bunny on the
Yes,
commercial
he
that
just
just
keeps
keeps on
going
going?
and going and going.
Exactly,
Yep,
exactly.
yep,
So people who knew me well would say, Adrienne, you're like the Energizer battery. You just keep on going. So for me, that's kind of who I was. Then I
yep.
crossed over my 50-year line and I continued, Randy, with the same behavioral lifestyle choices. So once I crossed over my 50-year line, I still maintained and I still made the same lifestyle choices. Went to work, I was diligent about that, didn't mess around with, my income coming in. I would
Yeah.
head out after work. Then I got introduced to, well, you know what? There's a couple of clubs kind of happening even on a Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. And then as the years rolled on, I also got introduced to after hours. So, what I realized when I look back in retrospect is that my journey, my downward spiral journey,
Yep.
happened once my daughter left home for university. I've been a
Mm.
single mother from the time that she was 3. So, it was her and I all of the way through. And so I
Okay.
felt a commitment to come home after work, even when she was in high school, because I have to prepare dinner. She may
Hmm.
be there for me. So I was always there for my daughter. And then she goes away to university. And this is the first time that I don't really have anything to do. So I would come home and I'd look around and, okay, what am I going to do for the next couple of hours? And
Yeah.
because my overall personality is to keep myself busy, always doing something, I really struggled with that. I'm home now. What am I going to do? I don't want to sit down on the sofa to kind of
Right.
watch TV. It was easier for me. You know what? I'm just going to stay out after work. And staying out after work meant, you know what? You're in an environment where there's music and there's food and there's people and there's
Hmm.
noise and there's always something happening. So I realized that for me, it was an easy excuse not to go home. And then once I got myself immersed in that crowd to keep up with it, it's like, okay, well, let me drink a little bit more. And let
Mm.
me move from marijuana to other party drugs that are going to keep me up a little bit longer. So going for dinner turned into going to a bar, turned into going into after hours. And Randy, honestly, sometimes it's now 5, 6 o'clock, and it's like, you know what? I got to
Wow.
be at work for 9 in the morning. Oh, well, quick stop home, quick little wash. Thank God coffee exists. I learned coffee for the first time in my life, what it can do to you to kind of keep you up. And my
Wow.
life became an endless circle of Monday. It was, okay, that's it. I'm not going to do it this week. I'm not going to do it this week. I'm going to clean up my life. Not a problem. And then by
Yep.
Wednesday or Thursday, I'm bored. You know what? Let me just go out and maybe only stay out to 11. But then I knew that
Mm.
down the street, there's another party kind of starting at 11:30. And then at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm up, I'm buzzed. It's like, you know what? I'm not going home. I know where the next after hour
You know
is.
what I think is interesting about your story is that oftentimes we don't consider that when you are 50, 40, 50, 60, in that age range, right? We don't consider that, oh, you're now finding alcohol, you're now finding drugs, you're now finding the party scene. We always consider finding the party scene as a young adult, a teenager, but or early 20s. That's when you find it. That's when those things impact your life. So I think it's really cool that you're able to speak up, be like, no, 50, it can impact your life anytime.
Absolutely. And especially if, see, for me, I realize now that I never even thought to substitute that those hours in between getting home and going to bed with healthy activities. For me,
Mhm.
all I knew was, you know what? What's going to give me the biggest bang for my buck? That's going to be a bar. That's
Yeah.
going to be a club because there's noise, there's people, there's action, there's so much going on. I don't have to think about anything. So for me, it was a good between 50 to about 55. And it just kind of escalated over the years.
Mhm.
And for me, how it came to a head was I'm always diligent when it comes to going for my yearly checkups. And I
Oh, okay.
remember maybe I was 55, maybe I was 56, going in for my yearly. Soon as I walked in, doctor, been with him for many years, knew me inside and out. Said, Adrienne, you look terrible. You look terrible. You got bags under your eyes. You've gained a lot of weight since I saw you the previous years. You look tired and you're moving slow. You always had so much energy. You would bound into my office.
Yeah.
And I remember some of my other patients would say, wow, who is that? Why does she even need to come and see you? She's so full of energy. He goes,
Hmm.
I could tell right away what the hell is going on. Now, it's funny though, in retrospect, again, I always go back to the messages that we hear around us from the people around us really embed and become our perspectives as we're getting older. So I remember when I was younger, I would hear my mother, my father, aunts, uncles, people in the church. Oh, well, she's 50. She should be slowing down. Oh, well, he's 55. He should be feeling aches and pains. Oh, well,
Yeah.
she's in her 60s. She should be graying. So I said, Doc, what are you talking about? I'm 56. I'm supposed to be slowing down. I'm supposed to be gaining weight. That is the message that you hear about adults
Hmm.
when they cross over that 50-year line. Well, they're over 50 right now. There's a perspective that you have of them based on what you've heard growing up. And he looked
Yes.
at me and he goes, Adrienne, you know what? Not necessary. Not for everybody. It really boils down to the lifestyle changes that, or the lifestyle choices that you make. And
Yeah.
I just said, yeah, yeah. You know, you just say, yeah, yeah. You say, yeah, yeah. But it was a few weeks later when my blood test results came in. And for the first time in my life, I was diagnosed as being pre-diabetic. Now,
Oh.
that made me sit up because prior to that, good, everything is good, everything is good,
Yeah.
everything is good, you're good to go. This is the first time. So that was one trigger. Number two, my father died of his diabetes in his mid 60s. So all
Oh.
I'm thinking of is, well, if I'm 56 and he died, I think it was 66, 67, Adrienne, you could be dead in 10 years. That
Hmm.
was my second sit up. My third sit up, Betty White. I love that woman. I love that woman, just her vibrancy in her 70s, her 80s, even her, she
Hmm.
died at 99. She was still producing and directing and acting
Yeah.
in that half an hour sitcom in her mid 90s. So for me, it was, I'm going to be just like Betty. I'm going to be just like Betty. I'm going to be out there crushing it like Betty when I'm in my 90s. So when he told me that, all I'm thinking about is, oh shit. Oh shit, Betty, I'm not going to be there with you. My daughter, she's not even married. What if she gets married? What if she has a family? I'm
Yeah.
not going to be there to enjoy all of that. For me, Randy, all of that came together as my why for Adrienne. You know what? You need to make some serious lifestyle choices. But it's one
Mhm.
thing to know, and it's another thing to action it.
And
So
that was my follow-up. How did you do it?
perfect. It was, I think I maybe had that appointment maybe in September. And I said, yeah, 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 yeah. But that weekend, I was still out that weekend.
Yeah,
But you
because
know
yeah,
what?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly. But it's still there. It's kind of still there, but I pushed it back because for me, the need to be out there and not sitting at home in an empty house was still stronger. It
Mhm.
was January. So that was like 4 months later. So September, October, November. So it was January. And I remember, Randy, it was a bitterly cold in Canada. a winter night. It was maybe
That's right. I
30.
forgot to ask you where you're at.
Oh, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, the T dot O. The
Oh,
T
you're
dot O
only
dot.
like an hour and a half from
Where
me.
are you?
I'm in Niagara.
Oh, okay. Hey. So you know,
Normally I ask at the beginning. I forgot all the technical issues.
so you know how cold it can get.
Oh, it's colder there than here.
There you go.
It,
So
it is.
this was an extremely cold January night. It was a Sunday. And I never smoked in the house because of my daughter. And even though she was gone, it was just a habit. But my garage is attached right to my house.
Mm.
But because it was so cold outside, it took me about 10 minutes just to layer up. I literally had to
Mm-hmm.
layer up. And then I go and I sit in my garage. And I'm sitting on a lawn chair in my garage. And I had to take my gloves off because, you got to hold a cigarette. And then I got
Mm-hmm.
to hold a marijuana joint. And I'm sitting there smoking. And Randy, I just burst out crying. I just burst out crying. I don't know where it came from. And all I remember is saying, God, I can't do this anymore. I
Mm-hmm.
can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to clean up my life, but I don't know how to do it. I commit on Monday, and by Thursday, my mind is already thinking, well, it's Thursday. You know what's happening Thursday night. You know that bar is kicking on a Thursday night. And I convince
Mm-hmm.
myself throughout the day, the whole day on Thursday, by the time 5 o'clock comes, I've convinced myself all those whys are gone. And I've convinced myself that, you know what, I'm just going to do it Thursday night. You can stay home Friday night. And
Yeah.
then it was a cycle. So for me, it was, you know what, God, I'm on like a mouse's wheel. A wheel of mouse is on and it
Oh,
just goes
yes,
around and
yes.
around and around. For me, I felt like I was on that endless wheel and I didn't know how to get off. I wanted to get off. I want to be there for my daughter. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to die in 10 years like my father. I want to show Betty White, you know what, you're right, Betty. There are a lot of us out there that choose to live a vital life as opposed to, oh, well, I'm 70, I'm giving up right now. Let me just sit in my rocking chair. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be an example of a 90-year-old who was still vibrant. So I had a lot of reasons why, but I just did not know how to make my why into the actions. And that's when I said, God, you know what? I need your help. I need your help. I need
Yeah.
your help. I finished my cigarette. I went inside. I went to bed. And Randy, I don't know when the change started to happen, but slowly over the next couple of weeks, just things started to manifest in my life. All of a sudden,
Good.
it's like cigarettes taste terrible. How
They
come it's the
do.
same cigarette? I don't know. When I'm smoking a joint and it's like, I don't like this. How come I don't like this joint anymore? When my friends would say, Adrienne, it's Thursday night, you're coming. It's like, no. So I don't know, but it's like I know now that God intervened and in place of making negative lifestyle choices, it was so much easier for me to make healthier lifestyle choices. And that's
Yeah.
what I started doing. So after the first couple of weeks, and I started feeling, you know what? I kind of want to do this as opposed to that. It was okay when I was in the grocery store. I want to get more things from the outside aisles versus on the
Yes.
inside aisles. Okay, that's really strange. How come I don't want that anymore? How come I don't want that sugary thing anymore? It just started to happen. And then it's like, you know what? Oh, there's a gym agent. You pass it all the time. Just go in, find out what the rate is at the gym, and join the gym. And then I did a couple of weeks later, and I started to
Mm.
enjoy it. And then during my lunch hour at work, as opposed to just kind of sitting there, I would start going out for walks. And I started discovering little parkettes in my area. And
Mm.
I'm going to say over a 9 to probably a 12 month, it probably took about a whole year. It was like a 180-degree, a total mindset shift
Wow.
to the point where at my lowest point, Randy, if I'm saying out of 10, and a 10 being totally energized, to a 1 being I feel completely fatigued. On my lowest points, most days, Randy, you're lucky if I felt like a 3 or a 4 out of 10. And that was my
Wow.
lowest points when I was just kind of partying all
Yeah.
night, surviving on coffee, trying to make my way throughout my day, totally fatigued. By the end of that year, when I cleaned up my act, consistently up until today, I can say I'm an 8 or a 9 out of 10 when it comes to energy.
I can like it's almost 7:30 and we are just still full of energy. So I believe it.
Now, what started happening as a result of that is I started noticing people complimenting me on my energy. And it's like, Adrienne, you're so energized. Like, you're
Yeah.
so full of energy. Like, you used to be so tired and, moving slow and a little lethargic. What are you doing? What is different? And I did not realize that it was because of my lifestyle choices that I was
Mm.
making that was equaling my increase. I didn't still put the two and two together. So I
Yep.
just said, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm eating more fruits or maybe I'm walking more. I just said, I don't know. Maybe
Hmm.
I'm just doing things healthier. Because
Yeah.
again, I hadn't put the one and one together to
Yeah.
equal two. Kept on getting compliments, kept on getting compliments. Sometimes people would even say, Randy, you know what, Adrienne? If I touch you, can I get some of your energy? Because I could
I
imagine.
was just thinking, can I bottle it and sell it? Because I would make a fortune.
And I would take it as a compliment. But for me, again, I didn't realize that it was a big deal. And
Hmm.
then, sometimes when that light bulb goes on, maybe it was, I don't know, sometime last year. And I just kind of said, you know what? Maybe energy is a commodity for people who don't have the experience of living with a high energy body. And that's when the idea came. You know what, Adrienne?
Yeah.
You were able to rebuild your energy from a 3 to a 4 out of 10 most days up to consistently an 8 or a 9 out of 10. Why don't you help others do the same thing? Because once you are no longer living in the same environment
Hmm.
as those that you were living in, I'm now seeing fatigue all around me. I didn't see it before because I was one of those
Yeah.
fatigued individuals.
Yep.
But now I'm looking around thinking, oh, wow, look at my colleague. Look at that neighbor. And I'm thinking, there's a lot of fatigue around me. There's a lot of brain fog. People saying, I'm not thinking clearly. My mind is in a fog. My
Yeah.
mind feels heavy. And it's like, maybe I could help them the same way I help myself. And that's when I created my coaching program, The Energy Edge, Unlock Your Body's Energy Potential. And that's what I graciously do all the time now. When people identify that, you know what, I'm tired of my fatigue telling me what I can and cannot do every day. How
Hmm.
can I rebuild my energy, agent? Because I know I still need to show up. I got a lot of people counting on me, and I'm counting on myself as well.
Wow. You summed up your story nicely. It's almost like you knew everything I was going to ask, so said it ahead of
Oh,
time.
okay.
Um, well, because normally I'm asking about coping strategies and stuff, but you kind of already said them, you went to the gym, you started making healthier choices, you were eating food from the outside instead of the inside. So for those who maybe have never heard that before, haven't thought about it, the outside of the grocery store is where all your fresh stuff is, and the inside aisles is where all your canned and box stuff is. Not to say that you can't get stuff from the middle aisles. I mean, I got crackers today. They're in the middle aisle, but spending more of your energy in the outside aisles is a healthier choice.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, Randy, what I like to share as well, too, just to make it simple for individuals, it's important that we always remember how we are connected to other living organisms. And once we come to realize that and accept that, we can now move forward knowing that because I coexist with other living organisms, whether it's plants, whether it's animals, whether it's bird life, whether it's life in the sea, once we realize our connectiveness to other living organisms, it really can support us living a more energetic life. So let me give you an example. We have made some main energy channels: our spiritual channel, our mental channel, our emotional channel, and our physical channel. So for me, those are the channels that I focus on every single day. When I wake up, one of my intentions are, today I'm going to make decisions to build a healthy, energetic body. That is my intention every day. because I know if I build a healthy, energetic body, anything I need to do today, anything on my to-do list is going to get done because I am building a healthy, energetic body. Now, what does that look like? Okay, from the inside out, my soul. How am I feeding my soul? I'm feeling my soul by being grateful. I show gratitude as soon as I wake up, even before my feet hit the ground. I show gratitude. I need to show my soul that, you know what, I am so grateful. I am so grateful. So that all of a sudden I can feel the energy building up inside of my soul. Then it's emotional. Okay, you know what? Today I'm going to be of service to anybody that I can see, any opportunity that comes my way to be of service. So if someone cuts me off, if someone needs to be let into traffic, if it means I can hold the door open for somebody, if I can keep the elevator door open for somebody, if I can say something nice to a colleague, anything that I can do to support building my emotional channels, automatically it's like, you know what? Bring me opportunities to be of service to others. And then I go on to my mind, and my mind is, what am I feeding my mind? What mental messages am I feeding my mind? Adrienne, you know what? You are this, you are this, you are connected, you are this. I feed my mind with those messages, and then it's physical. What am I doing to feed my physical channels? I'm getting outside, sun, vitamin E, physical movements. I get up every hour on the hour. I maybe march on the spot. Maybe I do squats. Maybe I do jumping jacks. I do something every hour on the hour to give my body physical movement. So throughout my day, every so often, I'll do a body check. It's like, how you doing? Adrienne, how's your mind? How you thinking? Are you thinking positive thoughts? Or because you're hearing that news all the time on the radio about what's going on in different parts of the world, my thoughts are going down. If I feel that my thoughts at any moment, Randy, are not moving north, I stop and I say, okay, what can I do to feed my mind with positive energy? I have a toolbox ready to go. If I'm sitting, and sometimes I do get caught up at work, and I might not get up every hour on the hour, and the next thing you know, maybe it's 3 hours later, I will intentionally, as soon as I realize that I have not given my body any physical movement for a couple of hours, I say, body, I'm sorry, and we head outside, even if I have to walk down the stairs and walk back up. So I am constantly in check with myself, asking myself, how are you doing, mind? How are you doing, feelings? How are you doing, soul? How are you doing, physical body? I constantly communicate with myself because I have to listen to my body, because she will tell me how I am doing. And if she tells me she's not doing well, I have to make the decision to course correct, because I still got another couple of hours to go. I need her to work in my favor. So if I don't take care of her, she's not going to take care of me. It's simple, and I keep it easy. Keep it simple, keep it easy. You know that saying, scratch my back, I scratch yours?
Yep.
That's how I live my life with my body every day. What do you need, Adrienne? What do you need, soul? What do you need, mind? Adrienne, you know what? We need to get outside in nature. Adrienne, you know what? We need a little bit more plants. Adrienne, you know what? You're not drinking enough water. We're hydrated. Adrienne, you know what? The knees are feeling a little bit tight. Can you get up and maybe kind of walk outside and walk around the block for a minute? I listen to my body and I give her what she needs. I no longer ignore her like I did when I was 50 to 55. Back then it was, what does Adrienne want? How I live my life now is, what does my body need?
I like that. Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking about it, and it's so true because I say it to my kid all the time. He'll be like, "Oh, I'm just so tired." I'm like, "Because you don't get up and do anything."
Yes. Yes.
Right? You have to get up. And it's not to say, I
Yes.
mean, I love naps. All the power to us nappers of the world.
Yes.
Um, but if maybe you've never noticed before, maybe, for all those listening, maybe you haven't thought about it before.
Mhm.
But take a moment, think about the days that you just kind of laze around. And again, nothing wrong with that
No,
sometimes.
no.
The days that you just laze around, you're more tired than the days that you actually get up and do a little something, something. Just
Yes.
saying, think about it.
Yes.
Think about it. Food
Yes,
for thought.
Randy. Yes. Yeah. Randy, we are a living organism. And because we are a living organism, we're meant to move. We're meant to
Yes.
move. Our minds are meant to move. Our emotions are meant to move. Our spirits are meant to move. Our physical body is meant to move.
Mm-hmm.
We're not meant to be sedentary for all of the hours that we are. And when we are, our bodies say, please. Like, if our bodies could really talk, but because they can't verbally talk, Randy, they talk to us through pain.
Yes.
And that's when our bodies are saying, you know what, I've done my best. I've held you up for so many years. I've let you abuse me for so
Mm-hmm.
many years. I can't do it anymore. So you know what? This is a pain. This is a pain. I gotta speak to you. I gotta
Yeah.
speak to you through a pain. But what do? We ignore it, right, Randy? We
We
ignore it,
ignore
right?
it and we put band-aids on it.
Bam, bam. And the body says, okay, I'm gonna keep on trying. I'm gonna keep on trying. But then,
Mm-hmm.
Randy, guess what? We keep on, and the body goes, I can't. It's like, you gotta wait, man, and you're weighing, and the body goes, I can't. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry. And the pain hits you harder. And the pain hits you harder. And sometimes there's no turning back. And
Yeah.
sometimes there's no turning back because the body says, I warned you. I warned you. But you didn't listen.
Yeah.
But that's another story. That's another story.
That's strong. That's powerful though. It's powerful. But we are coming close to the end. So with that, what are you working on right now? What do you want to share with everybody? I mean, obviously you've already been sharing, but like work-wise, what do you want to share?
Yeah. You know, I feel so deeply passionate about my message of living the life we have left with
Mm.
vitality, just because every single day you are hearing about somebody getting killed, whether it's an accident, whether through whatever means. That person woke up not even knowing that day that it was going to be their last day. So, Randy, because every single day you hear on the news negativity, 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 it's like, you know what? And that spirals into the mind. And then you take that and that becomes your reality. And then
Mm-hmm.
you look at the world in a negative picture. And I'm just feeling so much negative energy on this planet that we live. And for me, as a result of that, our lifespan seemed to be becoming shorter and shorter. And the life we have left, we're not living it in joy, in pleasure, in happiness. We're kind of just through default. We're like, on default, you're just going
Mm-hmm.
through default. So for me, my message, I feel, is important enough that I want to take it to a larger stage. I want people to really know that don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. You may be feeling this way today, but as long as there's that spark inside of you that I want to reignite that light inside of me because my work is not done, I want people to know that there are some of us out there that would love to walk that journey with you and let you know we still need you. We still need you. And if all you need is to learn how to rebuild up some energy, I want to take that message to a larger scale. So what am I doing this year? I am looking to do a lot more guest speaking events. So if anybody in your audience is working with a corporation, an association, a religious group, and you're looking for somebody that can come in and speak about resilience and falling down, but getting back up and moving forward with life and vitality, I would love for them to reach out and say, you know what? I got a woman that would love to come and speak about vitality. So this year, my project is doing a lot more speaking on vitality and living the life we have left to the max.
Oh, I love
That's what
that.
it's all about.
And where do we follow you?
Okay, I would give you my website, but it's currently being rebuilt. So in the meantime, just email me at Simmons, Simmons, a, oh no, oh my goodness, I don't email myself. Simmons 2020a at gmail.com. So Simmons 2020a@gmail.com. Reach out to me. Let me know how you connected with me. I would love to have a coffee chat with you about your life and how you might want your life to look moving forward. It would be my pleasure.
Excellent. And of course, we're going to throw that in the description down below.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. And I love that. I love that I talked about the fact that you're from Toronto because I always like to ask where people are from and then I forgot. And I love when it's like, hey, you're just like
Yeah.
an hour away. Like you're not
Yeah.
far at all. I go to Toronto all the time. I'm going to Toronto next week to go see Hadestown. So like, yeah.
My goodness. Well, then you know what? When we come off here, we'll stay on and then we'll talk about that a little bit, okay?
um So thank you everybody for joining us again on another awesome episode. And be sure to check out the link down in the description. And send Adrienne an email if you want to. And of course, remember, the only way to end the stigma of mental health is to speak openly and honestly.